What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of HermitPack on the HermitCraft server. Oh yeah, guys, so we're here in the mining world. Well, I guess our test world that we made last episode. Yeah, and as you can see behind me, our quarry has been doing some work. In fact, if we go to the mini-map, yeah, you can see it's done a lot of work. Now, the thing is, when we set up the quarry in last episode, I had set it up so it was on a shape card box. Yeah, so I came back here after a while after I noticed that the quarry wasn't doing anything, and there was like a line that ran one block wide all the way down there and all the way to the other corner and all the way around. In fact, if we come over here, you can kind of see there's a dirt line right here. That's a creeper. There's a dirt line that kind of runs this whole way down here. Yeah, that was because we set that to a box. So that does like the outside edge of the entire area. It does not do the entire area. So I swapped it out. I guess I changed it up so it wasn't a box. It was doing a, I guess it's a filled box. I can't remember what the actual shape is. But I've noticed that this quarry keeps stopping working. You'll notice right here there's some weird stuff happening. Like this whole chunk isn't taken out. That one's partially done. This one's partially done. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. I think it has to do with something with the chunks unloading or... yeah, I don't really know. I just reset it up, so it should be going and starting back over here, but it's got to start all the way from one side, check all the way down, make sure there's nothing to mine, and do this all the way down. Eventually, it'll start back over here. But this is a big area, guys. Like, there is a lot of blocks there. I'm glad we set that void up. We'd have so much stone and cobblestone and granite and andesite and diorite and everything else, the basalt, all of those things, all in our system, clogging it up. And as it is right now, our system is pretty well clogged. And you see right now, it's like trying to do work. It's going to go through all these different things. That scared me. It's going to go through all those different things. And yeah, it's going to mine all of them. So we did set up this chunk loader here. And I've noticed, like, I'll log out of the game and I'll log back in a little while later. And this dimension isn't loaded anymore. So there's something up with, like, either the RF Tools dimensions or that chunk loader or something along those lines that's unloading this dimension when I'm not here. Is there something that I need to put here to keep things going? I seem to remember there was something you had to put in this dimension to keep them loaded when you weren't here. I'll have to go back through and take a look because I can't remember off the top of my head. That spider's got a potion effect on it. It's kind of weird. But anyway, guys, yeah, so our quarry's working pretty good. Let's head home. Let's do the FTB home hypno command. We'll get out of the quarry world. It's going to be doing its thing. As long as I'm online, as far as I know, it's going to keep working. So yeah, you can see right now that our discs are pretty well full. We got a lot of red marks on here. So this is completely full. This one's mostly full. This one's still empty. So we're about 2/3 full on our total storage right now. So we might look at upgrading and adding more storage capacity. I've also added in some of these quantum storage units. As you guys remember, these are like deep storage units from Mine Factory Reloaded. They can hold a ridiculous amount of items, and they're pretty inexpensive. So we got one here holding alabaster. We got one with marble, one with limestone, hardened stone, and finally basalt. Yeah, almost 500,000 of that. 300,000, 260,000, 200,000, and 130,000. Yeah, that's a lot of space that those blocks would be taking up. Now, if we look in the system here, we can see that we have like 100,000 clay. So that's probably another thing that should go on one of those quantum storage. We have a lot of coal. I've tried blockifying the coal, which, you know, makes it 9 times as compact. And that's working pretty well, but we're getting a lot of other things like redstone, all these different ores. We don't need this many ores. We got 10.7 thousand of the dimensional shards now, so those are no longer an issue, right? We have all of this stuff. I was collecting some of these actually addition items from the quarry. Like I had my magnet on. I accidentally sent that back. Let me grab the item magnet out of my system here. Yeah, I was grabbing these items just off the bedrock floor. I assume the quarry is going through maybe dungeons. That's the only thing I could think of where you get like this stuff, the Inori crystals and these void crystals, going through dungeons, breaking chests, and those items just landed on the floor and the quarry didn't pick them up. I guess, honestly, I don't know. But yeah, we were picking up like a lot of this stuff. I think we got another... Can you search for actually... Yeah, we got like some of these stone AIOT, whatever those are. I saw some of those on the ground. But nothing like super crazy. Like some of these redstone crystals, the Inori crystals, and the void crystals are mostly what I found there on the floor. But anyway, yeah, our storage capacity is you know, getting kind of up there. I don't know if we're going to be able to support the quarry going through the entire process here, but I definitely want to try and get as much stuff out of there before we say goodbye to that dimension as possible. But yeah, other than that, I think we're just going to wait around for a minute, let that quarry catch back up, and then we'll move on to something else. All right, guys. Well, while I'm sitting here waiting for our quarry to start quarrying once again, I'm noticing that we're still using a decent amount of power. Yeah, I think some of that power might be used on the quarry, but the quarry isn't doing anything right now. It's kind of scanning through blocks looking for something to quarry. So our base is using about 7,000 RF per tick at idle when we're not doing anything, right? I mean, well, let's call it 5,000. Let's say the quarry's using 1,000 or 2,000, whatever. So we're using like 5,000 RF per tick at idle, right? Yeah. So I was trying to figure out what's using all that power. I know we have our brine operation up on the surface. Yeah, the thermal whatever, the thing that distills the water into the salt water into the brine. Yeah, and then we also have this machine right here, the electrolytic separator. This machine is constantly running all the time. You'll see that there is no water in here. It's constantly making hydrogen and oxygen, and we're dumping the excess. Now, the reason why we're doing that is because we need hydrogen to go into our chemical infuser here to combine with chlorine to make the hydrogen chloride, right? And we also need the oxygen that this machine is using to pump through over into, I think it's this machine or this one of these, this one. So yeah, the purification chamber needs the liquid oxygen, or I guess the gaseous oxygen. So the way this works, if we tell this not to dump it and like let this fill up, it stops producing hydrogen because this side's full. It has nowhere to put oxygen. And the same way on the other side, if we tell it to stop when the hydrogen's full, if we run out of oxygen, it can't do anything because there's nowhere to put more hydrogen, right? So we have to dump excess on both of these. So that means this machine is just always going to run. Always going to use, how much power are we using here? 5.2, 5.4 thousand RF per tick. That's kind of expensive. And that's with the energy upgrades and the speed upgrades in here as well. So that is kind of expensive. That's just running all the time, just using power, eating through our fuel that we have. That's why pretty much every time I think when I log in to the base, log into the server, the base is out of power. It's got to be from here. So I was trying to think if there's a way that we can determine when our oxygen's full and our, I guess our hydrogen's full, and turn this machine off, right? So if we go down below, that machine right here is dumping its oxygen into this ultimate gas tank, and our ultimate gas tank is full of oxygen. So we have 512 buckets of gaseous oxygen on hand. And then we can't really tell when the hydrogen's full because this machine is dumping the hydrogen directly into our chemical infuser to make the hydrogen chloride. But I would imagine if our hydrogen chloride is full here, we can assume that we're full of hydrogen, right? Okay, so I guess what we need to do is figure out if we're full on the hydrogen chloride and we're full on the oxygen. If both of those are full, we should be safe to turn this machine off. I think that's what I want to do. Whoops, I fell down the hole. So, what we need to figure out first of all, can we get a comparator signal off these gas tanks? Like, do they emit a comparator signal? I don't know if I've ever tried. One thing I do know, though, is that you can hurt yourself if you run into them. They don't take up a full block, or at least the hitbox doesn't take up a full block, but I guess the game thinks it's the full block, so you start taking suffocation damage. Anyway, so let's do a comparator. Let's grab one of these guys. Been using a lot of comparators recently. So this tank right here, this one's not full, and this one is full. All right, let's grab this one. So if we put down a comparator, we put down the tank. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, so this turned on, so it does look like it's getting a reading. Let's make sure it's doing what we want it to do. So we'll grab a piece of redstone. Right click. I'm right clicking. I like to right click the redstone now. What is going on with that? I won't let me right click right here. That is the weirdest thing ever. Why won't it let me right click? Oh, that's a chiseled. Okay, that's a chisel and bits block. That got me confused. I didn't even realize that's what was going on there. Okay, let's try again. Try again. Gas tank. Partway empty. Comparator. Redstone. Aha, power 14. Okay, so that's promising. So if we grab this one, which is full, then we should see a power 15. Just double check. This one's the full one. Boop. Oh yeah, power 15. Okay, comparator signal, perfect. This is what we're looking for. Okay, so we can do a comparator output on that. Now, if we want to do a comparator output on both of those, that's gonna get a little crazy. I think what we would want to do, let's see. So we can tell if each one of those is full. So we're gonna need an AND gate, or is it an OR gate? If both of them are full, we want the machine to turn off. So that would be an AND. So if this one is full and this one is full, we want that machine up there to turn off. So we need an AND gate. Okay, so the comparators have to be placed on a block. There are like the sticky comparators, which kind of work, but we only got like, 2 blocks of space to work with right here. I think we might be able to make it work. But there is a mod in this mod pack called Super Circuit Maker, which I think you can make compact redstone comparator gates and things. I've never used the mod before. I would like to use it. I think this might be a perfect opportunity to try it out. So, Super Circuit Maker. These things, yeah, we got subtractors, multipliers, dividers, constants, inventory scanners. I honestly don't know what any of this stuff does. Looks like we got blueprints to make these different gates and latches and state cells and so on and so forth. So I don't know how to make a comparator with this. Maybe the quartz resonator acts like a comparator. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe that's a timer. A resonator sounds like well, we got an ender pulsar. Maybe a pulsar is like a timer that emits a pulse every so often. Maybe the resonator is like a comparator. Anyway, I'm going to have to go through this whole thing, figure out what we need to do. I think I saw that you can make a screwdriver. And like, there's a way that you can get an in-game manual by holding Alt and right-clicking this. Does that work? Oh, wait. Just holding the screwdriver and pressing Alt. That's all you gotta do. Click to stay open. Okay, so we have this. The screwdriver is like your average wrench. It lets you rotate components and circuits by right-clicking them, but it also has some unique uses. You can click the connection of 2 wires to disconnect them. All right. I was hoping there would be like more information. Yeah, this isn't like a full manual. This kind of just tells you about the screwdriver. So I wonder if I make all the different components by holding Alt. Does it tell me about them? Maybe. Oh, I was pressing Alt, not Shift. The Alt key got me. Quartz. Yeah, let's make some quartz blocks real quick. Let's try it. I don't know if this works. We'll try it real quick though. Quartz resonator. One of those. If we hold this and press Alt, it doesn't tell me anything. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go find myself some kind of a manual for this, figure out what we need to do, if there even is a way to do a comparator signal through this, and we'll be right back, guys. Alright guys, so right away I was running into a problem using the Super Circuit Maker mod. Yeah. So you make these redstone circuits, right? So you place a redstone circuit down and you're supposed to place some tiny redstone on there. In fact, if we go back to here, it shows that we have tiny piles of redstone. And you make that just by putting redstone into your crafting grid and you get that. So I made a bunch of this stuff and I started trying to place it on there and there's nothing that's happening. I'm like, what's going on? I can't figure it out. Am I doing it right? Do I have to have some kind of special tool? So I can place down like these tiny plates. Apparently placing that plate spawns a with a boss or something. That was perfect timing, I guess. So anyway, you can place those down and yeah, that doesn't really do anything for us, right? Like you can place those down, but that's not the redstone. We can place down these quartz resonators. That makes a nice little boop sound as you do it. But yeah, so you can place those down, but I can't place down the redstone. Yeah, turns out I looked at this a little closer. It says Tech Reborn on there. This is Super Circuit Maker. You get 9 tiny piles of redstone for 1 piece of redstone. The Tech Reborn stuff gives you 4. So I was trying to figure out a way around this. Turns out you can place the redstone into a compacting drawer from storage drawers. We just place it right there. You can see we get the block, the redstone dust, and this one. And that right there, this is the stuff we're looking for. You get 9 of these tiny piles of redstone. Those you can boop all over the place. Yeah. Anyway, so that caught me off guard. I wasn't really understanding why I couldn't place this redstone on there because it's the wrong stuff. Now I know. Now I know. Can you turn this back into redstone? I can. Okay, so I can get my redstone back out of there. So I guess for the super circuit maker, we'll pull our redstone out of here for now, and then anything left over, I'll stick back in there. Pretty cool. Anyway, I'm going to continue on, see if I can make ourselves a comparator that's going to work with the two different tanks, and we'll be right back, guys. Alright guys, well I've been playing around with the super circuit maker for a little while now, trying to figure it all out. It is kind of complicated the first time you sit down and play with it, but now that I know what I'm doing, it seems pretty easy. Go figure, that's how most mods are, isn't it? So anyway, a few things you should know about the mod. Yeah, first of all, you make these little tiles, right? Yeah, so you make the tiles and you can extend the stuff that you're doing on one tile over onto a second tile. So yeah, you can, make a multi-tile circuits, which is really, really awesome. So we have 2 blocks of space up here where these grass blocks are. So we need to get the signal from this tank and we need to get the signal from this tank. So I kind of have the same thing laid out on the floor over here, right? So the way this works is we have this little guy right here, an inventory scanner. So an inventory scanner works like a comparator, kind of. Yeah. So inventory scanner will read what's in this ultimate gas tank, and depending on how full this is, will emit a different signal. So comparators in vanilla Minecraft work between 0 off and 15 when something's all the way full, right? Or I guess the highest redstone level. So it's on a 16 base scale. On Super Circuit Maker, it works a little differently. It's from 0 to 255. Yeah. So it's probably best if we grab this multimeter or multimeter, however you want to see it. Grab one of these and you can kind of like poke around at these different wires and see what's going on. So we have an inventory scanner here that's scanning what's in here. So this is completely 100% full. So this wire right here is now outputting a power level of 255. Okay, so there really is no good way of doing a comparator. There's like no single comparator block, I guess I should say, in Super Circuit Maker. We can see the strength level of what's in this inventory, but then what we have to do is use a subtractor. So we're going to subtract from this constant right here. A constant just emits a 255 level all the time. So if we take and we right click here, you see that's 255 and 255. So 255 minus 255 through the subtractor equals 0, right? Okay, pretty simple. So you get the inventory from here, you subtract the maximum value, and whatever's left over is essentially your comparator value, right? Okay, so it's a little bit more complex than you thought it was going to be at the start. Right, so we have the same thing over here, another inventory reader. So that's 255 minus 255 equals 0. And then I have these wires set up. You see the little line right there that only allows the power to be red. It doesn't like send the power back this way. So you see this one says 0, and if we click on this one, it says 0. That's not a good example. Let me get this tank over here that's partway full. So you can see right here, our redstone is now says a power 3. Okay, so back to our example I was trying to show you a second ago. This one says 0, but this line right here says 51. Right, so that's why I have that right here, just kind of to debug what the output of our subtractor is reading versus what this main line that's outputting over here is, right? Okay, so we can right click on here and see that we have a 204, right? So 255 minus 204 equals 51. And that is what is being sent along this power line all the way over here. And then I think 204 gets divided however it is, like by 16 by the Minecraft way. So 51 divided by 255, I guess, equals 3, or well, however that works. I'm not exactly sure. But anyway, it converts it to the correct Minecraft version of whatever 51 out of 255 would be. So yeah, that's how that works. It seems pretty easy. So you can see there's a comparator signal there, I guess a redstone signal, when one of them is partway full. And if we have 2 completely full tanks, we have no signal at all. So that's exactly what we're looking for. It's like an AND gate and a comparator all in these 2 blocks, which is super, super awesome. So we'll be emitting a redstone signal, I guess, into this airspace right where I'm floating. So we'll need to grab that, run that down under here somewhere, and probably connect up into this conduit over here, and then provide this electrolytic separator with a redstone signal. I guess we want it to run on a low signal. When it has a redstone signal, yeah, it'll turn itself off, and then we'll be saving our power. Seems kind of like a complex way to get this all done, but it's going to get it done regardless. So So I'll just kind of drill a hole over here so we can run some of our conduit. And that is going to end up running something like that. And then I'll make some conduit facades or whatever to kind of cover it up so we won't see that. But anyway, let me go ahead and get this thing all moved over. I think you have to place piece by piece when you span over multiple blocks. That they don't, like, you don't break one, it breaks both of them. Like, you have to place one. And that looks correct, actually. That placed in the correct direction. We place this one. Hopefully I'll be able to place in the correct direction again. That looks right. Cool. All right, so the only thing we need to do is hook up our redstone signal, and we should be good to go. I'll also probably replace these dirt blocks with stone or something, just in case there's an enderman or something. We don't want them taking the block and ruining our redstone. Okay, guys, so here we go. Here's the final placement of our parts. So we got the inventory scanner right here. It's all the same thing. So when both of these are full, we don't emit a redstone signal. And this thing is set to only work when it's got a high redstone signal. So you can see right here, it says it's using, but that's actually not true. It's not using that at all. It says needed 0.0. So it's using 0.0, but when it's actually run, it's using 5.4, I guess, is what's going on. So I was just looking over to verify how much power we're actually using. But it looks like the quarry, the quarry is doing work right now. We're collecting stuff quite quickly. That looks pretty good to me. Yeah, so can't really tell at the moment how much power we're using in the base without everything going. So yeah, there's that. But what we can do, I guess what we could do, let's do this. Let's go to the quarry real quick. Let's turn this thing off. Sounds like a spider's gonna get me. Okay, so that should be off. Let's do the FTB home hypno thing again. So no more quarry running. I'm kind of curious to see how much power our base is using just by default. I guess the only thing that'd be using power right now would be our inventory stuff. Let's just poke over here real quick. Okay, yeah, so we're using a total of 1,030? 1,030, that seems like about right that a refined storage should be using. Let's right click on this. This says it is using 516. Okay, so we still got the 2 water pumps outside with all the speed upgrades going. So we did knock down the power consumption of the base quite significantly. Another thing I'd like to do is just make sure this thing actually turns back on when we are ready to go. So yeah, as we see, it's using nothing at the moment. So if we grab, I don't know, a stack of iron. Yeah, let's grab a stack of iron. We will throw this over here, start processing. This should kick on almost immediately, I would imagine, and start doing some stuff. Sounds like machines are going, things are happening. Although maybe there's still a little bit left in the pipes or whatever where this doesn't need to turn on. Let's take a look at these tanks. Oh yeah, because there is a backlog of like the hydrogen chloride, for instance, in this pipe. And there's a little bit in this one. Okay, so now our oxygen looks like we're out. We're using it. And this machine is not turning back on. So why is that? Only when this is on a high signal. This should be working. Yeah, we're using oxygen pretty quickly. Okay, let's grab out the multimeter. Just kind of see what we got going on here. So if we right click here. Right click here. Oh, you know what? I messed up a little bit, I think. Well, we're outputting a power level of 17. So why is that not turning this on? I'm not sure. So run when you get a power level high. Is 17 so low that would be emitting a redstone signal of 0 still? Maybe that's it. Maybe it's got to drain enough stuff out of this to bring that number to so high that I'll be outputting a redstone signal 1. That's something I never did test. This still says 17 here. Okay, well, I tell you what, I'm going to wait around for a little while, see what this thing says. Maybe this doesn't update properly. I don't know. I'll wait around, see if this thing kicks back on. I really hope it does. Aha, so that's kind of interesting. If you see that power level on the screen right there, you will see that it says 17, 17, 17, and then a 34. Yeah, the 34 is the next level up, and that's when it starts emitting a redstone signal. So I guess 17 emits a redstone signal of 0. 34 must emit a redstone signal of 1. You can kind of see the conduit flash on for just a brief second, which is enough to turn the electrolytic separator on and fill this up full of oxygen for just a brief moment. Now, that's kind of not what I want, but I guess for right now, that's going to work. It's doing what we want. I kind of want it to run down to a certain point, then run, and then shut off again and wait till it gets down to a certain point again. Yeah, kind of like what we've done with our RF batteries in the past. So it's not constantly like on, off, on, off. But for right now, for a very basic setup, this is not running all the time, right? It runs long enough just to fill up the tanks to where they need to be. It does cause a little bit of lag while it's doing that. But that's something I think I'll be able to deal with because I don't think I'll be processing ores all the time. Well, that is a decent amount of lag. I wonder, does it cause lag if I'm over here, like away from it? I am kind of curious. Doesn't feel like it. So only if I'm in that room messing around with that stuff, is it going to cause me lag? Okay, well, that's something we can deal with. I'll probably mess around with this a little bit and try to make that better so it won't be lagging me out while it is kicking on. Goodness, that is a lot of lag while it updates these pipes. Okay, well, you know what? I'm happy with it. Obviously, it's not perfect. Way better than what it was before, where it's just running all the time. I think we're good. I think we're good. This is empty, and this is staying at about 507, and this is at 476. So I wonder if it's the oxygen that's kicking this on and off, not the hydrogen chloride. It might be. Well, either way, I think they'll even themselves out. When one gets too low, this thing will turn on, and it'll fix itself up. I think that's going to be just fine. All right, guys. Well, I tell you what, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap the episode up here for today. I had a lot of fun playing around with the... I fell down. Playing around with the Super Circuit Maker. I've never seen that mod before. I've never given it a shot. It was a little bit complicated to figure out at first, but I think it's going to be a really great addition to different mod packs in the future. I'm looking forward to playing around with that for sure in the future as well. But anyway, that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to leave a like on the episode if you liked it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.